G'day. It's today again. Just out here, contemplating the last element: ether, space, earth, fire, wind, water, heart. Whatever you like to see it as. Now, this element goes beyond the physical reality, but we can connect to it through physical reality, by cloud watching, stargazing, or meditating. And my meditation practice at this stage is a pretty intense one, twice a day. There's 3 stretching exercises, 3 breathing, and 1 mantra, an Om. And the Om's beautiful. It represents the cycle of life, preservation, creation, destruction, whatever order you want to go in. You're created, you try to preserve yourself, and then you're destroyed, and the cycle continues because you create something along the way. That Om represents that. But with this element, what we're actually trying to achieve or cultivate is a space within ourselves where we're comfortable being alone. And when you really dig deep and you take everything else out of the way, emotions, the mental chatter, the mind, the whole physical world. And I like to do this in the dark. I think the dark is the greatest place to do this, because when you take all that away, what's left? There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. And it's when you see that all this stuff we stress about, it's all created. It's all created for a reason. And for me, that reason is this universal intelligence. It's all the same thing. It's all made up of the same stuff. When it started, it was the same entity in a non-dual world, in a place on the opposite side of the fabric of reality. Like you take a blanket, a quilt, what's behind the quilt? It's all the stitch work, but for us it's invisible. And there's nothing. It's a place of pure nothing, pure nothingness. And this universal intelligence, it was lonely, if you want to put it that way, if you want to put emotion to it. So it expressed itself. Consciousness has expressed itself into all these manifestations which are us. It's fragmented itself, and it's given us this life so it can interact with itself. It can interact with each other. And that's the interplay of life. Life should be playful. It doesn't matter what religion or which way you're approaching this, whether it's Christ consciousness, with a Christ spark in here, in everybody and everything, or Taoism, the world is an organism, and in part you're part of that organism, maybe a cell in that organism, or the Hindus believe life is the stage and this is the cosmic play. We're just acting in the big illusion. Whatever you believe, you have purpose, you're here for a reason. But if we cultivate that space within and realize, holy shit, I feel lonely because I was lonely. The beginning of this all came from a lonely place, and now has expressed itself into this beautiful, dynamic world that just wants to interact with itself, with each other. And when we're not interacting with each other, what's there? It's that home where we all came from before we fragmented. We were connected there. We were one entity, pure consciousness, and now we're fragmented into many forms. And we have the ability to interact with who we want. Like the moon going around the earth, we're just orbiting each other. We don't have to be attached to everybody we orbit around. We can have our time around them and then we can go. If all the planets were connected together, it would just be one big tangled mess of strings and attachments, but it's not. They just go towards where gravity takes them, and that's what should happen in life naturally. Just where this internal mechanism, this heart, this internal compass guides you. But we tend to take control. So, letting go of control, harnessing that inner resilience, we look to this internal space. And I think it's best done so in the dark. And it's just you in the darkness. You come out of that darkness, look at the mirror. And everybody is a mirror. If you're uncomfortable with yourself in the mirror, you're going to be uncomfortable with the parts of yourself you see in others, or the parts of yourself you don't want to see and then you see in others. So, on your journey, bringing all these elements together, we all bring them back to that place we came from, an internal space, that heart, that ether. We visit that place and we know, this is me, this is where I came from, life is beautiful, and it's just expanding into an infinite, connected possibility. So please, value your life, find where your heart's drawn to, connect with whatever you need to connect to. That's why we're here. And as one thing replaces another, we're just slowly undoing the lies and the mental chatter that doesn't serve us, and we're connecting this big life, this big expression of life into one beautiful harmony. That's all it is. We're trying to unify it all in harmony. Stay loved.